Mayor.
Kyle, they put you in timeout, or you in timeout? About so
By myself.
over there with all your friends?
Hey Jamie, you wanna go to the other side since we do have some, well, thanks for pointing that out. Please do, please pick it up and place it in your seat. Hi Jamie.
Jack, thank you.
Make sure Kyle has enough room, apparently the guys need all the room.
I'm always by Kyle.
Hey, can y'all get Miss Jackson's shoes on camera?
It wasn't supposed to be a full
Love 'em.
party.
Nice.
I'm going to visit the school after this.
That's good.
Got
I
them
feel
all
like I'm in
shoes
first
on.
grade again.
I have my game day shoes.
Yeah.
I like them.
No?
No, that's what I thought it was.
Oh gosh, could
They're not on the phone this time.
Zeph, you tell us when you're ready.
Oh. Board members and all.
Yeah, just see that screen you got? That's what I got left.
Oh.
Thomas?
Whenever y'all are ready. Yes, Seth's ready.
All right, we'll go ahead and get started. My name is Billy Holland, and I represent District 4 for the Autauga County Board of Education, and for this year, I serve as board chairman. I'd like to start off by thanking all of our public officials that are in attendance today. Representative Jerry Starnes, Mayor of the City of Prattville, Bill Gillespie, representing District 2 for the Board of Education, Kim Crockett, District 3 for the Board of Education, Jamie Jackson, District 5 for the Board of Education, Kyle Glover, Dr. Allison King, Government Relations Manager for the Alabama Education Association, Kathy Evans, Revenue Commissioner for Autauga County, Scott Kramer, Administrator for the Autauga County Commission, Patty Vanderwall, President of the Prattville Area Chamber of Commerce, and Robert Stritchick from the Prattville City Council. Thank you all for attending. A little bit about myself. Most of my family has graduated from the Autauga County school system, which includes myself, my wife, my daughter. I've got a daughter that currently attends one of our schools. My great-grandfather and my father served on the Board of Education. And out of my 27 years in education, 14 have been right here in Autauga County. I've worked as a bus driver, a coach, a teacher, and as administrator. But I don't think you have to be a graduate of our school system, or even know someone that attends one of our schools, to understand the importance of having a vibrant public education system. Each of our schools are uniquely intertwined with the communities they serve, and it is vital that for community growth, but also quality of life, we have a successful public education system. A little bit about the Valorem background. The Autauga County Board of Education unanimously voted to pass the 7 mil property tax increase resolution during the April 2024 board meeting as the first step in a series of actions required to bring a referendum to a ballot in the near future. Once the resolution was approved, the request for additional funding advanced to the state legislature for approval as a constitutional amendment, therefore putting the request on the voters' ballots in Autauga County. When the legislation was enacted as Act 2024-257, it was decided that the residents would vote during the general election to avoid the additional cost of a special election. Funds the school system cannot afford to allocate in the effort to attain additional funding. At this time, I'd like to introduce Representative Jerry Starnes.
Hey, good morning. I'm Jerry Starnes. I represent House District 88, and it's a pleasure to be here. I have been fighting for certain things for Autauga County schools, and we have finally getting to the point we need to, where I'd like to see us go. First, I want to say thank you to the Autauga County Board of Education for standing up and having the courage to write a resolution to the legislators to ask for an increase on ad valorem. And once I saw that, I jumped on it. I said, I want to be part of that. And all of us as a delegation supported that. And that means a lot to Autauga County. Now I'm asking Autauga County, the leaders, the people of Autauga County to realize that we need this for our Autauga County school system. We are one of the lowest funded school systems in the state of Alabama, and it's a crying shame that we are. So we need to stand up and vote for this for our community. Not only our community, but for Maxwell Air Force Base. We need to be the answer to the education for Maxwell, because if we don't, we're gonna see something happen that we're all not gonna like. I started a committee probably about 7 or 8 years ago. Once we had Maxwell, one of the commanders said, our students, our community of Maxwell is not coming to Maxwell. They're leaving their families behind because of the education system. So this is an opportunity for us to stand up for Maxwell, stand up for our community, and let's get this done. So thank you. Oh, and also I get the privilege to introduce Mary Gillespie.
Thank you. Well, let's give our representative a round of applause for his proactiveness. You know, first and foremost, I want to thank our educators, our superintendent, and our Board of Education for all that they have done for this community. This includes all staff, that means at all levels, our school bus drivers, our mechanics, just everybody, because there's so much behind the scenes, the logistics, that if it's not there, the education system will not work in no matter whatever community it is. Also, do want to thank our county and our city councilors as well for their support of education here in the community. I believe it will take a lot to take our students, our teachers, and our community to the next level and prepare them for the future. That will take funding. I want everyone to vote their conscience when this is up for a vote. I want to provide a few examples of how important education is to our community. I have 101 ways right here. Before I get to those, I'd like to bring up a little bit of an old TV commercial, Fram oil filter commercial. There's probably a lot in the room here not really remembering it, but there's a lot hopefully out in the TV world will. But the Fram oil filter commercial was pay me now or pay me later. And I think we all realize that our world has been changing. Technology is so much more a part of it, and it is not cheap. So I'd like to address our young and young at heart as well up here to explain that a little bit. What I'm talking about in this instance, the young, that's the parents and everyone else that have kids, children that are in the school system. And the young at heart might be the ones that do not have kids, or they might be of my age where the kids have already gone through the school system. But keep that in mind as I move further along with my 101 ways that education can help improve and has impact on the community, because there'll be some bullet points in here, and I'm not going to read the 101 ways, so feel relief a little bit on that one. But some of the 101 ways: education develops critical thinking. Education turns followers into leaders. Education builds problem-solving skills. Education builds knowledge and understanding of our world. We all know that knowledge is power. Knowledge and understanding builds confidence and compassion in a person, preparing them for their future and our future. Research has found that higher quality schooling and higher quality teachers, I need to repeat that last one especially, higher quality teachers reduce crime and violence, building a safer community for us all. All these factors can contribute significantly to a more robust workforce within a community. And I guess maybe sometimes the older you get, the more you think about healthcare. Healthcare is currently a part of the workforce challenge. It is also important to our young and our young at heart, as I mentioned a little bit earlier. Education is critical to the available healthcare resources, but we must adapt and advance education to embrace the technology advances of the future healthcare industry. And a lot of times, the day-to-day lives that we have, sometimes we don't think about how important our fire department is, for one example. Our EMTs, our paramedics that are on these ambulances, you know, they are so well trained. And a lot of that is They have to be because of the technology that's right there in front of them. But education is an investment and it has a direct relationship with economic development and growth. It's about the future. So I challenge everyone to vote your conscience and what you feel the students and educators deserve in Autauga County for the future of the city of Prattville. Let it be known during the voting session there. But you know, as our world has changed and continues to change, we have to keep up. Because if not, again, we're building leaders, critical thinkers, and just the people that really make a community great. So thank you.
All right. Well, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, everybody that came out today. I want to first thank our Board of Education for giving us an opportunity to even be here today. Because again, like Representative Starnes mentioned, it started with the Board of Education requesting the funding. I know you guys have taken some heat, so to speak, on some of that. So I appreciate you guys, and thank you for getting, again, I'll always say it, for giving me the opportunity to be able to serve in this capacity. It's the honor of a lifetime, and I appreciate you guys having faith in me. I want to thank Representative Starnes, Senator Chambliss, Representative Smith, Representative Lawrence. The way this process kind of played out, we all started meeting early on, and what we tried to do is come up with a bill that best met the needs of what our citizens asked for. We tried to take what some of the blowback from the last initiative was, and we tried to craft this one to kind of be the happy middle ground, but also solve a lot of the problems that we have. So the fact that Representative Starnes, Representative Smith, Representative Lawrence, and Senator Chambliss, that we were all able to come together and come up with something that solves a lot of our issues. Again, we're forever indebted to you. I know you wrote the bill in the House, and Senator Chambliss carried the Senate, but again, it took everybody coming together, because without everybody coming together on that, we wouldn't even be here today. So I want to tell you again, thank you, and I want to thank the other representatives as well. Mayor, thank you. I appreciate you coming up and helping us out today. You've been great to work with throughout the time I've been here. It means a lot that you're here today. It means a lot that City Council and others are here today, so I appreciate you being here as well. I thank our county commission. You know, they've been great to work with, great partner. Appreciate you guys being here again today. Ms. Evans, I'm gonna call you out by name, because she's been great to work with on us trying to make sure that we create the informational campaign that is accurate. And Ms. Evans is gonna be thankful that she don't have to hopefully answer any more of our calls. But thank you so much for all your time you put into this, so that we can give our citizens factual information, and that's all that today is. I want to thank the Chamber for being here. You guys have been great to work with. Appreciate you guys as well, Dr. King, and all the things that you guys do. So thank everybody that's here. We appreciate you guys. I also want to take a minute to thank the media. You know, you guys have been great working with you guys for the last year and a half, or year and a quarter. I know a lot of times we talk about this a lot of times on camera, but you know, sometimes y'all got to carry stories that are not great. That's the job. I appreciate you guys taking the time to come out today to cover something that is a good initiative and get our information out there. So I appreciate the partnership of our local media outlets. So the biggest question I've received here lately is why the tax and why now, right? Guys, we all know that times are tough. Inflation's through the roof. It costs a lot to go to the grocery store. That is a valid question. It's the one that I'll try to answer as best as I can. Bottom line, why the tax and why now is this train's been coming down the tracks for many, many years. I'm very privileged to say I've been here all my life. I've been an assistant principal, I've been a coach, I've been AD at Prattville, I've been a principal. We are staring at what our system was pre-COVID. We've always been one of the lowest funded systems in the state. I'll say this, and Ms. Thomas always asks me to say this, you know, you hear rumors of before COVID did certain things occur. I'm gonna tell you, the way that we used to have to ration toilet paper in this county is 100% true. That is fact. Our people need to understand that's what it was before COVID. And I keep saying COVID because you know, and I know, COVID's been awful. It's had a big impact, you know, with people's health, but one benefit came with all the COVID funds, the ESSER funds that came to the school systems. Ms. Poe and her team have done a really, really good job of offsetting some of our costs, like toilet paper and things that we've been able to buy with these funds and build up our general fund. But the reality is, at the end of the year, those funds are gone. Or here in a couple months, those funds are gone. So now we're back to what it was before COVID, so that reality has never changed. COVID and ESSER funds are gone, prices are up, thankfully, and I will say this, commend Governor Ivey and our local representatives for making this happen. A lot of the salaries are up. Our teacher salaries are up, principal salaries are up, but that's a cost as well. But we're glad the salaries are up. In Autauga County, our buildings are in the same condition they were before COVID, for the most part. Now, you've seen a lot of things we're changing. I'll get to that in a minute in terms of some of the facility upgrades we made, but the conditions are the same. We're still asking teachers to do multiple after-school activities, and we struggle to compensate them regularly. Our students' needs have changed. A lot of these needs have changed coming out of COVID. You see all the national stories, but nobody really spends a lot of time to discuss it, the impact that is having on your local systems financially. I want to key in that word local. You're going to be saying it several times. Local money. You're having to fulfill a lot of needs and solve issues with local money, which is why we're here today. Basically, the world has changed, but our funding in Autauga County has stayed the same. One of the first things I did when I was hired superintendent, if you know me, I don't like hearing what we might can do and all this. I need to know what is our reality. And, you know, hopefully I'm in the role for a long time. If not, that's okay too. But as long as I'm here, we're always going to be honest with our people. Our board members feel the same way. That's why we're a united front on this issue. We're not going to run away from the truth. Sometimes the truth hurts. The first thing I did as superintendent, I brought in an outside group to give me an honest evaluation of our finances. Rice Advisory came in, and I'm summarizing this in our community meetings. We put it on every board. It will be up in our community meetings again here very soon because, again, the question I'm answering right now is why the tax and why now? This all ties into it. Rice Advisory said you have three options. You can cut teachers and staff, you can close schools, or you can find additional revenue. Now, just a little background. That organization is one that reviews the bonds when you try to go get loans from the state of Alabama. So I asked him, do I qualify for more bonds? The answer was yes. You can, in theory, if you get into a financial situation, you can go get some money. I said, but should I? He said, do you want the truth? I said, yes, sir. I want the truth and I want it in writing. And this is what he gave me, and this is why we're here. He said, Autauga County Schools is the guy that goes to the bank that wants a bigger house. You qualify for the bigger house. You can get the bigger house. You can have what you want. But to get the bigger house, you cannot pay for a car. You can't have a car payment. You can't have a truck payment. You're not going to be able to go out to eat. And when your AC goes out, I don't know how you're going to pay for it. That is the reality where we are. Okay? That is, again, it's a public document. It's been public because I put it out there numerous times. That is why we're where we are. The other reason why is there's a big unknown with trying to create a budget post-COVID because, as you know, the cost of goods have skyrocketed. Things that you used to be able to budget on your, I keep going back to toilet paper, it's one of the major expenses in a school system. The things that you used to be able to project out on cost, you don't know what it's going to look like. So we're doing our budget now for the next year. This year we're finished up right now. We're right on track where we thought we were going to be. If you saw me come around earlier year, you know, I did a big presentation with, we have 20 million local funds, and once we pay everything, there's 3 left. We're pretty much on track. Our people did a great job staying on budget. I can't get too much into the budget next year's budget because I got to present it to our board members. They'll see it next week. But I will tell you it looks drastically different. Next week I need you to come to the board meeting. It'll be out there. It'll be public. There'll be 2 board meetings. And it'll be in black and white what we think. Now, the board has to prove it. That's why I'm not getting too far into that. But I'm going to tell you, what we are trying to do with our budget is to protect teachers' jobs. So a lot of the things that we've done in the past, and I'm not being ugly, I'm just being honest with everybody. The surplus is not as much as what we had because we're trying to create a budget that protects jobs, and instead of using funds for, I don't know, central office salaries, we're not going to touch those funds. We're going to use our general fund because I've got to allow our schools to have what they need to function. So you're going to see some of this, and it's not going to look good. 24-25 budget is tight, very tight. We're okay this year. We're going to be okay next year. We're in pretty good shape financially. Again, a huge testimony to the previous board, to our board, previous superintendents, Ms. Poe, her team. The groundwork's been laid to be able to survive the next couple of years, but that is the reality. We can survive the next couple of years. Our model, like all systems, has 3 funding sources. You have federal, state, and local dollars. Our federal and state dollars are obligated. Our world would be a lot easier if we could use federal and state dollars how we actually have the need. But the reality is, if the state tells me that this money has to be used for this thing, well, I don't have a whole lot of options. Now, I'm not gonna go there today, but that is some of the differences between private, charter, and public schools. There's other schools have more flexibility in that area. As a public system, we don't have that flexibility. It comes down to local dollars. Systems that can pay teacher stipends for after-school activities. Systems that can upgrade facilities. Systems that have local units to reduce class sizes. Systems that hire instructional specialists to improve instruction on each system. Systems that can recruit and retain the best employees have access to local dollars to fund these activities. Autauga County has been one of the best districts in the state historically because our people stay here. We're still seeing, all of us are Autauga County. This is home. We're not going anywhere. Here's the reality though. If a private school can offer more salary, that person has to pay, at the end of the day, have to pay the bills. If, again, this is my reality. If somebody can drive 25 miles, 30 miles, and make a lot more money, then we're gonna lose some people. We're losing some people. Now, the trend the last year and a half, I'm telling you, I don't know what all happened before, a lot of our people are coming back home. We have to have the ability to take care of our people, to take care of our students, to take care of our system. Having additional local funds is the quickest way to transform a district. Now, my media friends here today, this is where y'all gonna key in on stuff because again, part of us being honest with people, you have to be transparent. You have to be able to give people the options. I need our voters. You're not gonna hear me advocate yes or no on the clock. I would never do that. We don't blend politics with education. Now, that being said, part of that is we have to give people clear ramifications, what may or may not occur. The board behind me, I think you have a lot of them in your chairs. This is our instructional campaign. This is our informational campaign. This is what we're putting out there. I'm gonna take a few minutes and hit these. I am not saying that everything on the yes side can occur. I'm not saying everything on the no side is gonna occur. This is information that I have to prepare the public for. All right, so on the yes side, when it says hire additional teaching units and support staff, what I mean by that is local units. I am dealing with issues at our elementary schools because kids, thankfully our enrollment's doing pretty well, even with charter schools and private schools in the area. Our enrollment's in pretty good shape. Well, when you're expecting 20 kids to show up and 40 kids show up, when your funding is based on the year before, guess where that teacher unit has to come from? It has to come from your general fund. We have no way right now in our budget to allocate money to off to the side so that when these issues hit, to be able to use that money instead of pulling a unit from another school. So when I say hire additional units, we would set a pot of money off to the side, say $1 million. Each local unit's $100,000. We would have 10 local units in our budget so that when these needs arise, hey, it's not coming out over here. We're not pulling from a school to give to another school. We're okay. That's long-term stuff that's never happened here because nobody had the funds to do so. Security enhancements. I will tell you point blank. We were able to hire additional security at Prattville High School, Prattville Junior High, and several schools. I don't want to jinx us, but we've had a pretty good start. Things are going really, really well. Boots on the ground matter. You've got to have the people on the ground to make things happen. I give those administrations a lot of kudos. There's a lot of things that go publicly that the reality is all of our schools in our district are great schools, and I put them against anybody's. If you're on our campus, you know that. You've got to be able to have the ability to hire staff to support those schools. So security, yes, we would like to have some more security guards. You can never have too much security on a campus. I think everybody agrees with that. If it's a voted yes, that's something countywide that we would be able to implement across the board. So local units benefits all schools, additional security measures benefits all schools. I'm really big on the next one, create a performance-based incentive program for our teachers and staff members across the district. The state of Alabama gives a state report card that whether we like it or not, that's how schools are judged. I can tell you, especially at your smaller schools, your data fluctuates so much because you don't have a lot of kids. It's hard for that school to stay, level all the time. The reality is, with the CHOOSE Act, people are comparing schools and making decisions for their families. In Autauga County, we opened it up where you can go where you want to before the school year. It is a competition. Competition's good. Competition's how you get better than everybody else. You can't run from competition. So that, what we're wanting to do there, we would set goals that tie into the school's ACIP, the CIP plan, the continual improvement plan. That would tie into our district strategic plan. We would have goals there if the school hits them, then we would be okay and be able to give those teachers and staff members a bonus throughout the year. Now, I'm not aware of another system doing that, but again, that's how we like it or not. We should want to do that, but number two, that's where we're headed with the CHOOSE Act. That is the reality. Parents are looking at that information, so we need the ability to let our staff members benefit from that. We got a lot of schools that knock it out of the park every year. All we give them is a pat on the back and say, welcome back, come on back next year. We need a way to be able to build in some incentive. Our facilities, tour them. I asked you to tour them. Go around. Now, things look a little different. We got a bunch of projects going right now because we got about 10 million in ATF funds from the state. The reason we're here today is I cannot count on that money every year. So people go, well, why, if you're asking for a tax increase, why are you able to do these projects? Because we're taking every available dollar and we're trying to solve as many facility issues we can while we have the funds. But I cannot factor those funds into my long-term facility plans. It can't go in, you can't even budget it in. So that's why we're trying to do that. We gotta do something with our facilities. Reduce debt. Again, a huge shout out to our local representatives. Got us $2.5 million last year. We were able to pay off a bond. We're trying to do the same. The quicker we can pay off debt, the quicker we can go, quite frankly, get bonds to build new schools. We need some new schools, especially in the city of Prattville. I've got a long-term issue at Marbury. The population's exploding, and I'm just gonna tell everybody in this room, I don't know how we're gonna handle that. If 200 houses go in at Marbury, I don't know. I cannot develop a long-term plan there because I don't feel comfortable going to get the loan. Same thing in our county schools. Billingsley, Autauga, their enrollment's doing pretty well. In the city of Prattville, we have some issues. We have some issues with our facilities, but being able to create a long-term plan starts with, we got to be able to have the debt ratio to go get what we need to get, okay? That's the fun stuff. On the no side, the first things up there is closed county schools and city schools. I put both of them up there for a reason. We have to analyze our trends in the city of Prattville. We're losing some kids at our feeder schools. Now, I think at some point you gotta look at, well, you know, what's the trend for the county? Again, this year we're okay with our population, but long-term, can we sustain a 15 school model with the current level of funding? I'm gonna take the emotion out of it. I'm gonna go back to Rice Advisory. Their recommendation is you cannot continue with the same model if your budget is the same. So when we're looking at things long-term, if we're able to build a school, how does that look? We can't even have that conversation right now. If it's voted no, I'm not saying I'm closing schools. I'm saying it's a possibility. I will go where the data takes me. I don't want to be the guy that has to close schools. That's the last thing I want to do. This is home for me, and I'm gonna be in every one of those communities, okay? But that's why that's up there, is because if these aging facilities are costing us money, and I can get a little more financial security with closing building A, moving the kids to building B, and the budget does better with that scenario, it's my job to make that business decision, and that's what it is. Reduce school athletics and fine arts support. Look, I'm not gonna hide from this. I am very proud of the work that the board, Ms. Poe and myself put into this past year. For the first time ever, we have fine arts supplements in our county. I don't mean it ugly, it's the first time ever. But what people don't understand is everything on this board, especially on the left side, let me go back to 3 pots of money, federal, state, local. All this comes out of local. So if we go into 26, 27, and I'm 2 million negative on my budget, I've got to find $2 million. So where does it come from? If this is really the only thing that we're using to spend the money from, guess where it's got to come? It's got to come from this side. Do I want to cut athletic supplements? No. Do I want to cut fine art supplements? No. Is that an option if I'm having to find $1 million because we're in the red? Yes. That's our reality. I have on here closed second chance alternative school. Well, again, let me go how it's funded. We pull units from schools to keep second chance open. Our people don't understand that. So in other words, that building that is needed, we need a place for kids to make a mistake, learn from it, and let's get you back in the regular environment. The teachers that are there, we pulled from other schools. Every other system that has an alternative program, most of them fund it with local money so that they don't rob from their other schools to keep that school open. That's our reality. Support staff for that facility comes out of our general fund. It's the same reality. So again, if I'm running $1 million short, I've got to find $1 million. These are the things we got to look at. This one pains me to even say. I'm very proud of the work that the board and Ms. Poe put in on getting all of our families to eat free lunch and breakfast. Here's the reality of that program. Anytime you enter something new, there's things that pop up. I don't want to bore you with all of it, but basically, the program's been great. Our kids are enjoying it. I've got 5 kids in the system. I enjoy it. It saves me some money. But the reality is, some of our funding that is tied to that program, free and reduced funding, has been cut because we didn't have all the forms to fill out. It's an unintended consequence. So, I lost some special education funding. So guess where that's coming from? It's coming from the general fund because we have to make sure we maintain that. It affected some Title I stuff. So Billingsley and Autauga will have lost some federal funding because of the program. Well, another school gained the funding, but I lost some funding out there. To keep those schools open, I have to use the general fund money to keep them open. So where does that money get cut? Again, all this is a pie. Our piece of pie is very small. We're trying to keep everything squared away. The reality is there's not enough pie. Decreased career tech funding. It bothers me to say that. Those of you know me know my grandfather taught ag in this community for 30-something years. Career tech is something I love. I pride myself on what we were able to do at Marbury and what we're doing now. But again, Career Tech Center is populated with units from the base school and local units out of our general fund. People don't realize that Prattville High School has to give up about 11 units to keep Career Tech open. If I could fund Career Tech all locally, I could move 11 units back to Prattville High School, and then you're talking about a game changer. Every school in the county gives units to the Career Tech Center to keep it open. How much better could our educational system be if the schools kept their people? That's what's killing us. We're trying to provide all these services, and we don't have enough to provide with. So that's why it's up there. Eliminate pre-K funding. That's going to be a big one. We have to provide some funding to get that program going. Am I wanting that, or any of us wanting that? Absolutely not. We need to give kids a solid foundation. Lastly, possible employee layoffs. We were going to try our best to make sure that don't happen. But again, the only reason I have these up there, I need everybody to understand, I am not saying these things are going to happen. I'm not threatening voters. This is non-political. I'm giving you the facts. The facts are, this school year, we're okay. The facts are 24-25, we're okay. We got plenty in reserve, we'll get through it. 26-27, when you've had a year out of COVID, with all the problems that are coming down the tracks, we can't account for how we're going to move forward with the current model. And again, I go back to that financial analysis by Rice Advisory. You either cut teachers, you either reduce programs, close schools, or you find funding. And that's from somebody that knows funding a lot better than I do. So, to wrap it all up, guys, we all know the realities of the yes-no vote. Better schools means better education, means more people stay here, more people move here, more people reside here, more people have kids here. It starts with your schools. Schools are the most important economic development component of any area. We have to make changes to our model. If it's yes, you will see changes. Be good changes. I'm gonna start trying to give the units back to the schools. We're gonna grow programs. We're gonna pay off debt. We're gonna start building some stuff. If it's no, again, we're gonna delay any bad stuff for as long as we can. But if I get to 26-27 and we're $3 million in the hole, I gotta find where $3 million is gonna come from. And I debated on saying this because people are gonna take it the wrong way. But again, today's the day of being honest. We are in competition for our students and families. It is my job to give our people what they want in public education. I ask that our people judge us by what you've seen and not by what I'm saying. We are doing all that we possibly can to give our families what they need. But the reality is, private schools and charter schools have different rules that makes it very difficult. If we had additional funding, we would have the flexibility to be able to even more compete more than what we do now. I am very proud of our system. I will put it against anybody. The reason this community is as strong as it is because this educational system has carried the central Alabama region for as long as I can remember. It's not hyperbole, it's not making up stuff, that is the fact. As your as your public educational system goes, your communities will follow. So I hope that our people understand the yes-no vote. I hope they understand that I'm not being one way or another. I'm not telling you vote yes, I'm not telling you vote no. What I'm doing and what the board is doing is this. Here's possible things I've got to do if we run negative in 26-27. Hopefully that's not the case. Or if it is the case, hopefully if we keep getting funding from the state, we're in pretty good shape, honestly. But how can you plan on funding that you don't know is coming every year, okay? So for more information, go to acvoe.net/ad valorem. All pertinent information is found on the webpage. I do want to give a huge shout out to Ms. Thomas over there on the side. She is, I've joked about it, she's probably about ready to strangle me. She has put in a lot of work. Ms. Thomas, I'm forever indebted to you. I appreciate you more than you'll ever know. We're going to do some community events. The community's going to be invited. We'll go around. We'll let people ask questions. We'll answer them as best as we can. Last thought, I'm done. Crucial moment for our district. All I ask is people look at it objectively and vote your conscience like Mayor Gillespie said. Yes or no, regardless, we're gonna do everything we can to avoid anything bad happening. But come November 6th, nobody in this county is gonna be able to say that we didn't know what the outcomes may be. So that's the whole goal of this. It's an informational campaign. We're not trying to sway you yes or no. That's all I have. Ms. Thomas, you said, ask some questions. Anybody have any questions? Or? Yes, ma'am.
I have a couple questions for you. I know that a lot of people may be looking at like dollars and cents. So, what would be a seven mil increase in terms of a homeowner and how much they could potentially pay if you guys have like a sample?
Absolutely, fantastic question. And all this too, just if y'all get those questions, everything's on the website now. But yes, average homeowner is going to pay $70 for every $100,000 in value. Again, Ms. Evans, appreciate y'all helping all that. So the number I always use, I'm not very good at math, I always like to use the number of 5. So if you live in a $500,000 house, you're gonna look at $350 more a year. What was the other question? How much, each meal is about $1 million, so a $7 million increase would give us approximately $7 million that would go into our local funds.
I have another question
Yes,
for
ma'am.
you. I know you mentioned those ESSER funds, and
Yes.
that definitely helped you. If you don't mind talking about, again, how
Yeah.
it helped you all, but also the fact that, I believe the deadline is coming up pretty soon, how much do you all have left to spend?
Well, I can tell you, when you're broke, you maximize funds that are gonna be given to you. We have $27,000 that are left in that, and it is all obligated and will be spent by the end of September. And look, the main thing we were able to use with those funds, I mean, you're looking at one of the expenses right now, we were able to replace a lot of flooring. There's a lot of infrastructure stuff that we were able to solve. Now, we're also able to front load a lot of our educational programs. We have about $40 million in our reserve account right now, which is 5.5 months of operating expenses. Most districts, if you have 5 months in your account, you're starting to look at building buildings because that's good. Our reality is we can't project that because our budgets show that you're gonna be diving into your reserve funds, eating it up. So, that's why we're here. If I had just a little more where you knew you were banking that reserve money at the end of the year, we would be building buildings as well. I just can't publicly tell people that's what we're doing because I don't feel comfortable with that right now. Now, if we're able to move some stuff around, it'll be a little different situation. Any other questions? All right, well, thank y'all for coming. I appreciate you, and we'll get all this kicked off. Appreciate it.
You know what, let me get it. Sir. Sir, let me get it. Let me get it. See you later. See you. Take care, sir. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Thank you, brother.
Good job.
Hey, that works.
You can advertise.
No, you're good. I appreciate you. Oh, there it is. Hey, don't you? And then the state money, and then the part B of the community.
Oh, yeah, I was about to do that. I was about to do that.
Oh, good.
My job, put everything out there.